Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Tell me assalamu alaikum in the comments. Tell me where you're from. Tell me how you're all doing today. We have some really, really good stories to talk about today. Alhamdulillah. We had a good week last week, actually, with lots of positive stories. It was very difficult to choose, but I think I found some very good ones to speak about today, inshallah. So, where are you all from? Assalamu alaikum. Let me know. How are you all doing? How is your Monday going? Monday motivation? So let me know how you all are. I'm doing both again, so you just have to bear with me because I'll be moderating as well. So I'll be putting you all the links as well as chatting. So as the description says, today we're going to talk about two Muslims who've made history in Belgium. There's a fantastic Muslim woman who we are campaigning to get on the back of the £50 note in the UK. So I'll tell you all about her. 5 ways to be content with what you have, and they're really good tips. And some Muslim men in Australia fighting domestic violence. So let's crack on soon, but I want to hear from you. Tell me how you all are and say salamu alaikum in the comments, and tell me where you're from and tell me how it is where you are. Today is sunny, but it's very cold. This morning was -3 when we went out to take my daughter to school, but now it's warmed up to a whole 4. So we're going to have to get those big coats and gloves and hats and whatever else out very soon, I think. And today she's off to the fire station. It got cancelled last week because they had to go on a call. I mean, this is a small town where we live in. So last week I told you all she was due to a fire, to go to the fire station to have a look at the fire truck and all this, and they were going to get to sit in the engine and everything, but she came home more disappointed because they had to go out on a call. So I did tell her, well, that is a little bit more important than a school trip and you can go at any time, and they arranged it. So inshallah today she's been out to the fire station and had a nice, I don't know if they're taking them anywhere in the fire engine, but at least she gets to sit in this fire engine, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Jules. Assalamu alaikum, sister. How are you? You're in the States, so I'm assuming you have pretty much similar weather to us. It's very... are you in the East? In the east of the States, or where are you exactly? Here it's so cold now. It's getting very cold. Although on Saturday we had a lovely day, but then it's gone cold again, subhanallah. Assalamu alaikum, brother Fida Hussein Bat. MashaAllah, sister. MashaAllah to you, brother. How are you doing? So let's get started, shall we? And I'll read your comments as we go along. So the first story today is a very nice one, and we're going to Belgium. We don't do many European stories that often, but actually this is a really good way to start because two Muslims have made history in the Belgium elections. They had elections last week. Sarah Mohammed Khalif and Mohammed Ridouani have made history this October in Belgium. Both of them have won seats for Leuven City. One has joined the city council as a member of them, and the other became the mayor of the city, subhanallah. So Sarah is the first ever Somali woman to take political office in the country, and she was voted to represent the Belgium Socialist Party as the newest council member of Leuven City. So mashallah, and well done to her. She is still, she's also still, she's still a student as well. So she's got a lot on, mashallah, very good. This is good for her and good for Muslim women as a representative as well. And Mohammed Ridouani is the son of a Moroccan immigrants, and he has become the mayor of Leuven, which is the capital of the Northern Brabant province and the major city in Belgium. So that's really, really good, right? I mean, this is really good. And Belgium is such a small country as it is, so it's really nice to see that they are making an impact over there as well. So mabruk, or congratulations to those. And that's our first top story. That's our first good story. Sister A, and she's on vacation. You know, we are allowed them. So she's gone to her family in the States. And Jules, you're in Detroit, Michigan, very close to Windsor, Ontario. Cold winters for sure. Probably very similar weather to where you are. Yes, it is. We are in the Atlantic states, so quite away from you. But yeah, it's cold. It's very cold today. And I think it's only going to get colder from now on. I can't imagine it warming up that much now. Can you? I mean, maybe the odd day or two. We did get told there should be snow soon, but I think that may not be quite true, not just yet. So that's the first story, and I've just put the link up in there. So feel free to click on that link and have a look, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Abdu Ibrahim. How are you doing, brother? Where are you, brother? Whereabouts are you? Now, the next story, we're going to the UK, my home country, and I wonder if, I don't know if we have many British people watching us right now, but have you ever heard of a woman called Noor Inayat Khan? She was a British Muslim woman who served in the British military during World War II. She was a Secret Service agent, and when France fell to the Nazis in 1940, she escaped. She must have been in Europe at that time, and she escaped over to England, where she joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force. And in 1942, she was sent over into Nazi-occupied France as a spy for the Special Operations Executive. In 1943, she was captured by the Nazis, and she was sent to the Pforzheim prison in Germany, where she was held there in solitary confinement and tortured repeatedly. She never ever gave information about what she knew, who she was. She never gave this information up, despite being tortured repeatedly. She was sadly shot in 1944 in Dachau concentration camp. Well, there is a young lady in the UK by the name of Zara Zaidi, and she has started a petition to get this wonderful woman, Noor, on the back of the £50 banknote in the UK. And, you know, I think it's an excellent idea, because Khan actually was awarded the George Cross, which is the second highest award of honour in the honour system in the UK, for her bravery, you know, during World War II. And this just shows the UK as a great country of diversity, which I am actually proud of, that we are such a diverse country. And it shows how people of many different faiths make the UK a great nation. Unfortunately, with the Brexit and the rise of some right political, not really parties, but groups, can we say, or, you know, these prominent figures from the right that are in the news unnecessarily. We are seeing lots of hatred spread against people with different ethnicities, faiths, and so on. Particularly Muslims. There is an increase in Islamophobia in the UK since Brexit, and it continues with the likes of certain, and I refuse to name them because they are, for me, vile people who don't deserve the attention that they get, but certain right-wing people who take it on themselves to try and say how bad Islam is without them even knowing anything about Islam and so on, and they just want to pick out on the bad stuff that happens to demonize Muslims, and then their supporters jump on the bandwagon and do the same thing. And this happens all over the world, no matter where you are. But we've not I think for the last at least 20 years, not 20, even less than that, we haven't, in the UK, I'm not saying there isn't racism there, because of course there is, and it's always been that way. But it hasn't been as prominent as what it is now. I mean, we are a diverse country. We are a massive melting pot in the UK, and there are places in the UK that where you go, like London, Birmingham, Manchester, some towns in the north of England that have a really diverse culture going on. I mean, London has to be one of the most diverse cities in the whole world, without doubt, even till now. I mean, it's a great big melting pot. If you go there, you will see everybody from every different faith, from every different angle, area of the earth. I'm sure of it. It's a fantastic city. But what brings us down is that these people who just want to go back to the old days of when we used to try and conquer the world, and we were successful at that. Whether that was a good thing or not is an entirely different thing. But I mean, at one point, the majority of the world was under British rule. And these people can't get over the fact that we are not in that same world anymore, and we've moved on a lot. Unfortunately, they bring down the country, and they bring down what it became now, which is, in my opinion, since I was growing up, a very diverse place to live. Now, lots of Muslims fought in the wars, and whether you agree with it or not, you have to remember this was a completely different time and a completely different mindset back then. And I think they should be recognized for the great service and the great courage that they showed, especially this woman. I mean, to be a spy in Nazi Germany or in the Nazi time, you know, that required such guts, such courage that, you know, would we have? I've actually been to Dachau concentration camp in Germany, and let me tell you, these places are eerie, they are creepy, they are scary. You remember what was done there. I mean, Dachau is actually more to do with the political prisoners of war from the Nazi period. As far as I know, no Jewish were killed in Dachau. I think the majority of those were sent to Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen, and there are some other camps where they committed these atrocities. But Dachau is mainly known for the political prisoners within Germany or the outside, and they were shot. There is a gas chamber there, but it was never used. We actually looked in, and it is really eerie and scary, even though it wasn't used. And you just cannot imagine the fear of what happened to anyone who went into these places, not knowing if what was going to come out was water or gas. And, you know, you can't get out, you're in a room. So they lock it, or they locked it. I mean, we saw along one of the walls, there were the holes where they shot the political prisoners dead. I mean, the vast majority of political prisoners in Dachau were Soviet Union, from Russia, communists, and they were shot. And you could see the holes till, you know, and they replicated the huts where they made people sleep, and it must have been awful, really. Why am I bringing this? Because, I mean, this woman she's courageous, and she did a big service to the UK back in World War II, where she was a spy, and she obviously sent back information to our Secret Service, who then obviously used it in order to eventually go on to win the war. But it all ties in, if you think about it, to what is happening now, because we've had it over centuries of the superiority and the better race, but I don't think we've ever seen it as bad as what we've seen it in the 20th century and possibly this century. You know, there are things that have took place this century and we're not even a quarter of the way through it. But in the 20th century, the atrocities that, because they were from different backgrounds, from different faiths, they weren't the same colour, and so on. And we just don't learn. And now we are seeing the same thing, the same movements, you know, move again forward. And we're still not learning, and we are still in this, we're still stuck in these old days when apparently things were great. Now, if I had these people in front of me now, I'd have to ask them, was this really a great time? Was it really a great time when we were shooting people or killing people because they were different to us? Or, you know, people were struggling to live, not just because of a different religion or different faith, just because the poor were extremely poor. You had so much going on then. You had you had a class war, which still goes on in the UK, so from rich, middle and working class. You had people, you know, you had racism to fight, you had the women's rights, you had all of this going on, and still none of it is resolved. And we have to ask ourselves, is it really a great time to go back to these terrible times? Really? And we should be celebrating the likes of this woman, because she really, you know, she was courageous to the extreme, and we should be celebrating the fact that it wasn't just white British people who were fighting the war and trying to get rid of the right-wing Nazis that had took, the far right-wing Nazis that had took over power. There were many. I mean, even if you go back to the First World War, lots of soldiers from India at that time, and even I know it wasn't Pakistan and India back then, but I mean that whole area, they fought for the British and they died for the British Army in the First World War. And without them, we probably would have suffered even more, because they actually increased the numbers of the army. I mean, the First World War wiped millions of men out, and the population back then wasn't like it is now. So when the end of the First World War came, which actually is the 100th year since the end of the First World War this year, the men were few. So we fought these kind of wars in the 20th century, and nothing, what have we learned from it really? Nothing, because we're going back to those same times, you know, where there is superiority amongst race or faith or I don't know, but we're seeing it with our own eyes, and it's disappointing, and really deep despair. But if you think about it, on the other hand, and you see that there are good people back then, like this wonderful woman, as there are now, there are many good people. You have to have the hope and positivity that the world is going to go back again to what's right, inshallah. Either that, or we'll witness the end times that's been prophesied. Who knows? Allah alam. But it's just it was scary then, it's scary now, and we have to do what we can to fight against this kind of behavior. Of course, we are not politicians, and we can't, you know, we can't go out and try and change it from a political point of view, but you can stand up for it online. We have this, I mean, internet now is amazing, and you can stand up for justice on there by posting what's wrong, and making sure that the voice is heard, and making sure that you're educating people in the right way. They didn't have that back then, which must have been a struggle, but now we have it, and we should use it for the right reasons. And that is to highlight these stories of such courageous men and women who fought and also to raise awareness of what's going on in the world or in your area, especially if there are massive places of right-wing or abuse or genocide. I mean, how many genocides have we seen just because somebody is not the same? I mean, this is more or less what happened in the Second World War, as it was to anyone who was different, as it was in Bosnia, as it was in Rwanda, and now we're seeing it almost in Rohingya, Burma. So we don't learn as a human race, we don't learn, and these atrocities carry on happening because somewhere in the world there is a group of people who always think that they are superior and better than somebody else. So we really have to do what we can. We can't do much, I know, but we can try and share these atrocities out so people can understand what's happening. And like this, we are sharing the voice of the victims and the oppressed. And that's what we have to do, inshallah. So yes, I'm all for this petition, and I've put the link up there. And I hope, inshallah, we get this wonderful woman on the back of the £50 note, and at least more highlight more news about these people. Not just her, there would have been many others who went out and sacrificed and helped people during this time, and put their own lives on the line. If you think about, I think there was a small village, and I can't remember, I think it was Albania, and actually they were Muslim, mainly Muslims, and they, in the Second World War, and they knew that the Nazis were coming for the Jewish people, and what they did for the Jewish people in that town or village, they actually hid them, and not one Jewish person died from Muslims protecting them. And this is what the real Islam is all about. And this is how we have to try and follow these people. So it's not just about, obviously we can't be doing something like that, or obviously because we're not in those situations, but to just share out the information that this is happening, this is going on, and stand for no justice, no matter who it's against, injustice, whoever it's against, we should stand up and speak, because that's taught about in our faith. This lady did it, and she died for it. This whole village did it, and they protected their Jewish brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah. And we can see it many times happening over and over again, of courageous Muslim men and women doing such things. So we can try and share their stories if we find them, and get them highlighted, especially in a world when everybody thinks that Muslims and Islam are not great. We can change that perception if we do that and use the internet for the good, inshallah. The next one is a nice one. You know, as Muslims, we should be positive. And I mean, I'm not talking now where we're unrealistic. We should be realistic, but we should have an air of positivity, and we should be content with what we have. Allah tells us this. And, you know, the more grateful we are, which is a sign of contentment, no matter what, whether you have a lot or not, Allah will give you more. So, you know, sometimes life doesn't go our way, and we can get bogged down with it, and we can feel really fed up, and we can feel like nothing's happening right, and why are these things happening to me over and over? Or we can change perspective, and we can say, Alhamdulillah, this is happening to me. How can I make it into a good thing? What can I gain from it? How can I learn from it? Many things, many ways of thinking in that way when something doesn't go right. So these are 5 inspirational reasons to be content. The first is be happy with what you have. It's healthy. It really is. Optimism is optimistic, and optimism also it spreads. You know, if you're sitting with somebody who's positive person, it can wear off onto you. actually it's very good for your health as well. There has been a study that's gone on for the last 20 years, and it shows that optimistic people apparently have stronger immune systems than that of negative people. So, well, we all want to be healthy in this world, right? So that's one good reason to stay positive and be happy with what you've got. The next thing is appreciate details for consistent long-term happiness. It's okay to be disappointed if something doesn't go right. Nobody's saying never be sad or never, no, because this is unrealistic. I mean, we're human. We are going to get down from time to time. We're going to feel sorry or sad if something doesn't go right. But we have to learn to try and make the most or the best of a situation that's gone wrong. So, for example, let's say you made plans with your friends for the weekend, and you're going off somewhere on a trip, and it goes to pot. You don't end up going, you know. So of course you're going to be sad because this is something that you've looked forward to, and you really want to get out there and maybe get a break and go away and enjoy it with your friends. It doesn't go ahead. So of course you're going to be disappointed and sad. But the key here is not to dwell on it. Not to be, oh, what we're going to do, but you can take it and turn it into a better situation, whether that means for the future. So what happened? Was it something out of your control? Then you just say, alhamdulillah, because maybe Allah didn't want you to go because something bad was going to happen. And that's why you didn't end up going. Or maybe it happened for a reason that you knew about. Maybe you didn't plan it properly, but you will then next time know, oh, we need to do it like this, we need to do it like that, and so on. So you just make the best out of a good situation. So yes, you will feel a bit disappointed, but if you get the lessons of it and you make the most of it and you turn it into a positive, you're going to feel better and you will improve for the next time, inshallah. So the key there isn't just not to feel extremely sad when things don't go your way. Try and make the best of a situation. The next point, number 3 and 4 for me, are the most important for me personally. The number 3 is stop and think. This might be gone tomorrow. So this really is deep if you think about it, because if you start realizing that nothing in this world is guaranteed, absolutely nothing, apart from the fact you'll be born and you'll die, these are guaranteed, but everything in the middle, nothing is guaranteed. This helps a lot towards being content and enjoying what you have. So let's think about it. You've just got home from a hard day at work, and your mother, she's asking you, or a hard day at school if you're studying or college, and your she's asking you, come and sit with me, let's watch TV together. You know, she wants some time with you, but you feel tired and you just want to relax in your room and just relax and do whatever. You've got to try and put in your head, she is not always going to be there. Tomorrow she might not be there. So will it hurt really to have just an hour to sit with her and watch her program and enjoy her company and talk to her and let her feel that you love her and so on? I don't think so. And we have to try and look at things in this way, that tomorrow this might not be there, this person might not be there, this situation might not be there, I might not be in my house now, I might be, you know, you have to remember and realize that everything in this life can be gone very fast. So we have to understand that, and we have to realize that nothing is guaranteed. This will help you enjoy and be content with everything that you have right now at this moment. The next point, also very important, is look around what's in front of you that you can enjoy. Well, it doesn't just mean that physical things or materialistic things that you have. This actually means everything. You know, Allah has decided to give me this. So, for example, Allah decided to let me talk to you today, and this is a wonderful thing. I enjoy these Mondays so much, and because I've been doing them a lot now, I really look forward to them. It's a highlight of my week. I love to see the people talking to me in the comments. I love when they chat back. Today you're very quiet, I have to say, subhanallah, but I like it when it's a busy, active session, and Allah gave me this chance. Allah gave me this. And this is how we've got to see things. I'm giving you a very simple, basic idea, but we've got to understand that whatever's in front of us, not just materialistic, but spiritual and emotional, Allah has given us this, and we have to trust him, and we have to trust his choice for us, because at the end he's only going to give us the very best of this world. He's not going to give us the bad. So even if you're going through a bad situation and you feel this is really difficult for me right now, we've got to learn to put our trust in Allah and understand that this is the best thing that Allah has given us. And there's a reason behind it. There's always reasons, subhanallah. Salam alaikum. Akbar, how are you doing? I wondered where you were today, brother. I hope you're fine, inshallah. Is saying, thank God for everything good and bad. There is always a lesson. Being grateful is so important. I agree. And yes, we might not know right at this moment in time why some things happen to us, but I think eventually it starts to become more and more clear. And eventually in life, we discover, why did that happen to us? Because we have a chance to look back. So it's really important to look what's in front of us and understand that Allah sent us this, and it's the best thing that he sent us, subhanallah. And the last point is very nice. The effect of your contentment on others. Well, if you are content and happy, and you're happy with you're happy with what you've got, and believe me, this is very difficult. I'm not saying this is easy to get this contentment for everything that's happened or happening to you. It really isn't. It takes a lot of self-control and practice, and you've got to learn to let go of a lot of stuff, and many of us have a problem with letting go of things. But the results are amazing, and that's what we've got to remember for ourselves, spiritually as well as physically as well as emotionally. And if you learn to do that, and it's a slow process, it's not going to happen overnight, but this effect will rub off onto other people, because they are going to look at you and they are going to be so happy that they see you like this, that they're going to wonder, how come this person is always like this despite what happens? And then they might try and learn and copy and do the same thing. So subhanallah, that they are really nice 5 tips, and I have put them in the link so you can have a look at them and try and practice. As I said, it doesn't come easy, but you know, nothing worth having comes easy at the end, does it? So with practice, with time and self-control, we can get this, inshallah. Now, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this month, actually, our page at aboutislam.net, and I'll just put that for you all. I'm sure you all know it, but I'm just going to put it in the link anyway. So our page aboutislam.net, we have been raising awareness for domestic violence and what can be done. It's a very serious issue. It affects no one is, let me just say, there is no one in our society that's immune to it. This can happen to adults, it can happen to children, it can happen to women, it can happen to men, it can happen throughout all different religions, all different faiths, all different races. Domestic violence happens no matter who you are, where you are, what religion you're practicing, how old you are, whether you're male or female. Men are abused just as much as, I would say women, probably the statistics of women being abused are higher, but men are abused and women do abuse men, and it's no laughing matter. Because I saw a comment earlier about a man being abused by his wife, mentally, emotionally abused, and somebody was like, this is not a man, he wouldn't accept this. Well, this is exactly why when men are being abused, they don't come out, because the society wants to shame them into believing that they are not a man, because they would never accept it. Well, you can turn that round on a woman as well and say, you know, a woman would never accept this. Until you're in that situation, you have no idea who will accept and who will not accept. I mean, you may think you are the most strongest person in the world, but if you are in that situation, how do you know how you will be if you are being abused, whether you're a man or a woman? At the end of the day, when somebody is abusing another person, they are extremely clever and they are extremely manipulative, to the point that they can isolate you without you even realize that's what's going on, until you've realized you have no one around you at all, or you feel that you have no one around you because they've manipulated you that much. People who abuse are not, they are conniving, which means conniving is like they're cunning, they're sly. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know how to get you to the point where you're afraid to speak, to go to somebody, and you think really bad of yourself. So nobody can sit there and say, if he was a man, he wouldn't let this happen to him. If she was she should just leave, or whatever. It's not that simple. And I have, alhamdulillah, I've never ever been in a situation where I've been abused domestically, and alhamdulillah, I never want to be in that situation. But I have read a lot about it, and I have watched people talk about it, and I love to read, and it doesn't matter what, because I like to get knowledge, and it doesn't matter on what subject. And I think that's the way we raise awareness. We start with ourselves, and to be less ignorant on things. So, you know, you can't sit there and say, just leave if somebody is being abused, and you can't say a man wouldn't let this out, or this is wrong on all levels, because as I said, the abuser is usually extremely manipulative, and they know what they're doing, and they get that person into such low self-esteem, such low confidence and fear, that this person really feels they're by themselves and they don't have anywhere else to go or to do. So such topics are not black or white. You have a huge grey area that you've got to tackle. Sister Naila, she's a counsellor and she does our live sessions. Maybe some of you have seen her. She did an excellent session on domestic violence on Wednesday, the Wednesday just gone. If you go to our video section on our Facebook page, you can find it, and she speaks about all of this. And it was one of the best talks that we have had on our Facebook, and she really goes into detail about it. And if you want to understand more about it from a psychology point of view, I would recommend you watch that. Going to our story, there is in Australia, domestic violence is the leading cause of female homelessness in Australia. And there is a group of Muslim men called the White Coats. They are a charity, and they are fighting domestic violence by helping to establish safe houses for female victims. And I'm not just talking now, they're not just going for Muslim women, it's for all women who are suffering in Australia. They are trying to take care of them. The safe house that they have established will shelter up to 20 women at a time. Now, domestic violence, I touched upon a little bit. I'm not an expert, but I've read a lot. And as I told you, you need to, if you want to know more about it, you should go and watch this video from Sister Naila. She's a trained counsellor, so she obviously has a lot more information, and she shared so much, and I think it's very beneficial. But domestic violence is behaviours that aim at gaining power and control over a spouse or a partner or a family member. So it's not just about, a husband and a wife. It can be the kids. It can be the other way around, the wife over the husband. It's frightening, really. And it can affect anyone of any age, any gender, as I said before. It's destructive. It's very destructive, obviously, for the one who's being abused, but also for the abuser. And of course, it can come in different forms. It can be physical abuse. It can be emotional abuse, where people are, the person is putting somebody down to the point that they just feel so worthless, criticizing, calling them names, just making them feel like they're nothing. This happens. This is emotional abuse. Financial abuse, where they're controlling the money. Sexual abuse, which is very common, more common than we realize. And spiritual abuse. Now, spiritual abuse, where the abuser decides to use the faith in order to control the other person. So they will take elements of the faith and out of context to control the other person. We had an excellent article over the weekend about this, and I will try and find it after the video and put it up so that you can have a look. But spiritual abuse exists, and we had comments on this article saying it really does exist in certain communities, and it's not nice, really. My grandmother was mentally abused to the point, she came from a time that was, it was frowned upon to be divorced in the UK. And so she didn't leave him ever, but she was mentally abused for the vast majority of their marriage. And the effects of it on the kids, on my mother and her siblings, really was difficult. They came from what we would class now as a broken home, but at that time there was no resources or anything to help them, so they had to suffer. But if you are suffering from any kind of domestic abuse, then you can contact our counsellors, and I'm just putting you their email in the comments to see what you can do. You can check Sister Naila's video. Again, I will put it in the comments at the end so you can check what she said. And if you are living in a country and you know that there are places that can help with helplines, then I suggest that you try and get in touch with one of these helplines to help you, at least give you information about how you can help yourselves or help a person if you know they're being abused. Domestic violence has to be taken very seriously, and we need to talk about these things. We can't just keep pushing them under the carpet and pretending it doesn't happen, because it does, and it happens within our communities, even though Islam is very against it and has never ever said that we should practice this kind of behavior. But it does happen. It happens everywhere. It happens all over. So if you know somebody who is being abused, or you are a victim of abuse, then please try and reach out to people who can help you and give you the information about what you should be doing. And I'm going to just leave this link for these men who are really trying to take care of these women in Australia who are victims of it, because a lot of victims do end up on the streets when they leave because they just don't have the right information to help themselves. And this is one of the points that Sister Naila was talking about on Wednesday. She said that it's not just as simple as getting up and leaving. You have to have a whole plan, worked out plan, a system, and you need to know what to do. So as I said, I will put her live topic, live video in the comments after this video, as well as the article on spiritual abuse as well. So please take care of yourselves, brothers and sisters. And if you do know of anything like this happening, please try and get the help that you need or that person needs, because we have to talk about domestic violence. We can't keep pushing it under the carpet. And sisters, particular sisters, but brothers as well, it's not just about having patience and Allah will reward you. No, Islam doesn't say a man has a right to hit a woman. A man has no right to hit the woman. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never hit a woman. So if you are in such a situation, you need not to just follow the advice of have sabr and put up with it. You need to try and get yourself out of it. And you need to go to the proper resources to help you, whether that is a counselor or whether it is an organization within your place of where you live that can help you get the tools to get out of this situation. We need to start talking about domestic violence, and this is what our website has been trying to do during the whole of October. So you will see many, many articles on it. So please check them out, inshallah. Now, that's the well, I talk about a very serious topic there, but that was a very nice thing what those men are doing, trying to help those women in Australia. But now I just want to go on to a story that's just come out on our website today. We know there are many situations in the Muslim world where Muslims really need help and dua, and I hope that you pray for them the whole time. But today, a very disturbing article came on our website, and I'm going to put it you in here. It's about Yemen, and they are on the verge of the worst famine, of the world's worst famine in 100 years because of what's happening. And I'm not going to go into the politics of it or anything like that. But I just want you all, please, to share this article. That's all I'm asking. And obviously to keep them in your dua, because no one in the world's media, or very few in the world media, are talking about what's happening in Yemen and the starvation that's happening there to those kids. And I said earlier that the best way we can use the internet is to stand up for injustice that's going on, and to share and to highlight things that's happening in the world around us. And I think Yemen is one. None of the media, or hardly any media, are talking about it at all. So please, brothers and sisters, I've just put you the link now in the comments. If you can all share this on your own social media pages, just to spread the word and encourage others to share, we can try and raise awareness, even if it's a little bit, just to help these people who are really suffering in Yemen right now. So keep them in your dua, brothers and sisters, and may Allah make it easy, or give them some ease for what they're going through right now, and give them patience. And any of them who've died from any of the atrocities that's going on, give them Ameen. But please, there is one way we can help. It's small, but if you can share that link that I've just posted, this will help us spread awareness of what's going on in Yemen. And it really does need to be shared, because not many news organizations are talking about it at all. So please, brothers and sisters, try your best and share that link. That is all for me for today. I'm sorry, it got a little bit somber at the end, but I think these are very important topics that we need to talk about. We can't keep pushing them under the carpet and thinking that they're taboo. They are not taboo. We have to talk about them. We have to make them known. and that if someone is suffering, you know, they should know that they are not out there alone, subhanallah. So please, brothers and sisters, do what you can, and keep all these people in your dua. And we will continue sharing such topics like this, because I believe as a website, this is what one of the things we do best at, is breaking the taboos and bringing these topics to the forefront for people to understand how to deal with it. So please, as I said, try and share this link of Yemen. I'll put the other links in case anyone is suffering from domestic violence and need help. And please contact us if you really need any help whatsoever. We have counsellors who are prepared to try and advise as much as they can. And I gave the email earlier. So everybody, Assalamu alaikum. I pray that you all have a blessed week, and I shall see you soon. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.